All right. Good afternoon, City of Peekskill. My name is Rainey. I'm the mayor of the great city of Peekskill, and I'm here with my partner Andy Stewart, who is also our great city manager. Andy, thank you again for
How you
taking time out
doing,
of your
Mayor?
day.
It's great to be with you. Thank
Once
you.
again, I much appreciate it. Yes. It's been a busy few months for the city of Peekskill. Today is June 9th, 2020. And we're just going to give you a little bit more information on exactly what to look forward to in the city of Peekskill, and also what we've come through and what we've made it through. The first thing I want to say is many of you have been watching the news, watching the social media, watching the governor speak on a daily basis. We're finally in the works of conversing about reopening, not only reopening New York, but more importantly for us, reopening the city of Peekskill and how that's going to look. So we're working on a strategic plan right now. We're working with the Parks and Recreation, working with our youth borough. The City of Peekskill Library is also planning their reopening plan. Everything that we're looking to reopen has to have a new set of rules. So it's going to definitely be a new normal. So some of the things that you're used to seeing in the past are most definitely going to change now. So even looking at the City of Peekskill, I will be officiating weddings again. Even weddings will be limited to people coming. They will also have to have masks, and everybody will also have to have sanitize their hands. There's going to be a way to walk in the building. They have to sign in when they come in the building. There's a lot of new rules to get ourselves as close to the new normal as we possibly can. But I do want to inform the people out there that the new way of life for the reopening process is starting to happen. And currently, until we actually have a plan set in place that we're sincerely or pretty much ready for everything has been done via commercial, via Zoom, via Google Hangouts, and all these other different apps.
Email. Let's not forget about the phone. I mean, the City Hall,
right.
And it's unfortunate. Some people think because the City Hall has been closed for public guests that somehow everybody's just relaxing at home or something. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's very, very busy, and people are getting work done. There's people in the building, and there's people who are off site telecommuting. We're using phones, we're using Zoom, we're using emails, and we're making appointments to schedule to see people. Code enforcers, building inspectors are out doing site visits. Obviously, public works, sanitation, all those guys have been hard at work in the community. Everybody sees them all the time. Police and fire, others are first responders. So, but just to speak specifically a little bit to City Hall, we're working on plans to bring guests back into the building. And that literally means, putting up plexiglass shields with customer service stations, putting tape on the floor to indicate 6-foot distancing, making it easier for people to make appointments. Those kinds of things, requiring masks, and having hand sanitizer everywhere. Those are the kinds of things that need to be in place. At City Hall, as complicated as it can be, is nothing compared to running recreation programs. And that's why, and that's really the sad side of the story, is that due to the COVID crisis and restrictions, reasonable health restrictions imposed by the state, Centers for Disease Control, and so on, we just haven't been able to effectively open the pool, to have the normal summer camp program with large groups of kids kind of rotating from activity to activity. Is just not permitted under the health guidelines. So we're looking to switch over, like all the recreation programs in the county are, to smaller group activities and focus on things like soccer skills training and other kinds of activities where the kids can stay and have just one piece of equipment they're playing with. It's sad because, little kids want to play together, and staff want to be able to interact with those kids, and the family depend on it. So there's a big, big change in planning process going on for recreation. And there'll be a lot more information available as we go forward. We really do ask people's patience. It's a time of great uncertainty. Every municipality around the county is struggling with basic questions about how to run recreation. We don't even know yet, for example, what the protocol would be for cleaning a sliding board on a playground.
Exactly.
It's just literally things that have not been figured out yet by the health authorities. The Department of Health, the Board of Health, is not issuing pool opening permits right now. And when they do, they're going to have to provide specific guidance about how to run a locker room, how to run a bathroom. Those are the kinds of things. When the county says we're opening our pools at the end of June, the guidance doesn't actually exist yet to do that.
Right.
And in this city, and working for this mayor and the city council, I know that we're going to put a priority on children's safety and family safety.
Without a doubt, yes, and it's very important that the safety is the most important thing for us as a council, as a city. Period. You know, especially when it comes to our most vulnerable, our seniors and our children. So, you know, when we speak about what the county's planning on doing, what the state is saying we're doing, we realize more importantly that there's every city has their own unique way of doing this, especially with this situation, because we got to be mindful of the differences in every city. Some cities do and some cities don't have pools. Some cities do and some cities don't have soccer fields. Some cities do and some cities don't have waterfronts or parkways where people are going to be outside. So when we have these discussions about the reopening process, we have to be mindful of this. And we also got to be mindful for the people who are out there waiting for information. You know, we're getting information. People are calling about parking tickets, how can they renew their license with the DMV closed, or how can they cover parking tickets with the city hall closed and we're not having any parking hearings. So these are all things that are going to be discussed for our reopening plan. I do encourage people, though, and I say this every time because it's very, very vital in order for people to get the continuous updates. But most of this stuff you're going to see on our city website, or, you know, the government channel as well, or our city social media page. There are going to be some updates coming up in the next couple of weeks that may change from what we've actually said today. You know, so recently we said that our pools were going to be closed for the entire summer. I believe last week during me and Andy's weekly report, we mentioned our pools would be closed for the entire summer going forward. Now we're getting word that possibly early July, mid-July, the city of Peekskill and other cities will be opening their, or can be open their pools and park and recreation programs. So things can change on a daily basis, even a weekly basis. But whatever happens for the city of Peekskill, we're going to make sure that we update you all and keep you informed. And I just want to say thank you to all of the organizations. There are a lot of youth organizations, Be First Boxing Gym, our youth borough for sure, our parks and recreation program. They're working on many ways. New Era Creative Space, I believe, also as well. They're working on many ways to help address these challenges during this time for our youth, for our children. They're doing a lot of virtual conversations, virtual dialogue, virtual programming, social distancing activities for the children outside. I know Be First Boxing was working on a 10, I think it was 7. They want to do 7 to 10 feet boxing strategies where they actually spread out, you know, and they have no more than 8 people at a time, you know. So there are many people in the city right now who are working with the city on exactly putting programs together for the summertime to keep our youth active and busy, so they don't be too stressed out at home, especially when the weather starts getting nice. And we encourage people, go outside and take a walk. The parks are beautiful. Once we start reopening, we've had discussions on keeping our youth borough tidy. You know, as the city manager mentioned, you know, even cleaning bathrooms or cleaning locker rooms at the pool, there has to be a plan in place for that. So, you know, we're looking, when we reopen the Kylie Center, one of the first things that we're doing, working with the housing authority, is doing a full-fledged clean of the entire inside and outside of the building, as detailed as possible. So when the kids come back, they can come back to these locations that they trust and that they grow up in, as safe as clean as possible. You know, so
I wanted to just mention that because the mayor mentioned parking, we're actually setting a date with the Business Improvement District of July 1st for reactivating the meter enforcement and metering in the downtown area. And that messaging will be coming out, you know, in the various media to make sure nobody's surprised by it, including little flyers, you know, on the meters themselves. But just so people understand how important it is, if you don't have meter enforcement, then there's very little turnover in those curbside parking spaces, which means that you can't get one when you need one to visit a local business or stop in on seeing a friend or something. So it's really important that we get those meters, and it's really a bellwether of a reopening process. The businesses themselves are really struggling, and they each have a state mandated checklist that they have to go through in order to reopen, whether it's a lot of the same stuff as City Hall, you know, the plexiglass shields and so on. You'll see businesses are starting to be able to have their tables and chairs out of the restaurants for people to sit at when they're eating takeout. And very soon they'll be able to provide service both indoors and outdoors, but only under certain conditions that limit the number of people.
Right.
So everybody's kind of working on these things. You may be running an insurance agency, you may be running a beauty parlor, you may be running a barber shop. Everybody's got a set of rules from New York State as to how and when they're allowed to fully engage with the public again.
Right, and I'm really glad you mentioned that as well, because they're as you can see all over social media, people are taking pictures of their haircuts.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'm a great example of a Corona hair.
well, mine's is fairly easy. Mine's is fairly easy to manage, so I think I'm okay. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of new opening. I do want some good news to discuss is the city of Peekskill has still been open for business. The planning department has been working consistently every month, in the zoning board of appeals. They've been working consistently every month to still try to keep business going as far as new development and new stuff for the city of Peekskill. And also the farmers market just opened last Saturday for the first day of the summer, and it was fantastic. The bid is doing a wonderful job as we expected. And again, just like all of the businesses that are open, we encourage and continuously ask the people to support these local businesses that are open. But there was new protocol. You have to go in with a mask. You have to keep your social distancing. They prefer you to have cash to decrease the amount of touching and pretty much any possibilities of spreading the virus if you may or may not be affected. That being said, though, we still encourage people to follow the safety rules. Continuously wash your hands with warm water and soap. Use sanitizer. Wear a mask. If you're feeling sick, stay home. Contact your doctor. Go get tested. And just follow the basic rules of cleanliness. Keep your homes clean. Keep your counters clean. Keep your metal surfaces clean and everything else, because that's really what's helping us get to where we are. And I don't know the last number, Andy. If you could just share the last number of
the COVID cases.
positive test cases.
Actually, yesterday the active case number fell to 32, and for the city of Peekskill. And bear in mind that was over a couple of hundred just a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So the active case number is continuing to fall, and those are cases that have been obviously identified in the last week or so and are still considered active until they tested negative. So those numbers are falling, and as the mayor said, it's precisely because Peekskill residents are wearing masks, they're washing their hands, they're keeping their social distance, and they're trying to be real careful, because we know that this particular virus, you can have it for a while and not have symptoms and have no idea that you're spreading it around. And so those masks are really, really important to wear.
Exactly. So, and it's the city's working with the parks department. We know people are patronizing some of the restaurants now, so they're having a lot of takeout. I've seen taco dive bars opening, and they're allowing people to order from the window, and the creamery as well. So we've added additional garbage cans to the parks, to the riverfront green area, just to remind people that even though we're going through a crisis, we still want the quality of life to be a factor in the city of Peekskill, so the priority. So. There's a lot to look forward to. And like, as we said, we're looking towards the conversations now of the possibilities of reopening. We've been working with some of the restaurants and local businesses in the area just on possibilities of how quickly they can reopen and what their protocols of safety is going to be. And of course, consistently speaking with the Department of Health, consistently speaking with the CDC and the state and the county office. I will be visiting our county executive this Friday, just to get some more insight on what the city or what the county is doing and what they would like to see from the city of Peekskill. I believe he's meeting with many of the mayors individually just to somewhat show what he would like to see as a county and how the county, and get information on how the county can help us with the reopening process in the city of Peekskill. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll surely update you, Andy, and I'll surely update the city for next week's our next week COVID update. I want to mention something a little bit off topic, then I'll let you close it out. This past Saturday, we held a social support gathering rally at the Pew Park, just in response to some of the stuff that we've seen online with the racial injustices and the different, riots and rallies that we've seen around the world, sparked off of Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd's death. And the city of Peekskill really, really, really did a phenomenal job. It was a very diverse group of people. I want to say we had between about 1,300 to 1,800, maybe more, people out there at the Pew Park. Everyone had on their masks. Everyone had on their had signs, and it was a very peaceful, positive, inspiring, if I may add, protest. And I just thank everybody that came out to really, really show and set the tone in the city of Peekskill for other municipalities worldwide, because it really showed the unity that this city has, and it really showed the courage and the efforts that this city has to stay on a positive level. You know, one of the first things that we took in mind when we got in office, me and this administration, was to build a relationship with our police department, our ambulance corps, and our fire department. And we have liaisons on our council that are in consistent communication with them to prevent these type of incidents that we've been hearing about, reading about, and seeing in the news from ever happening in the city of Peekskill. And one of the main things that we realize is important is to get the message out to the people that though this is all happening everywhere else, the city of Peekskill, thus far, we're much better than that. I have a consistent relationship with the city manager and the chief of police. We talk pretty much 2 to 3 times a week, if not more, just on basic principles of what the city of Peekskill has done, can do, and will do. And with this happening around the world right now, globally, people have united to stand up against police brutality. Thankfully, this chief and this police department hasn't gone that far. And right now, we're doing a really, really phenomenal job at working together. So I want to make sure that the people of the city of Peekskill do understand that the council, the city manager, we all care about these tragedies, and we all care about how our police department responds just as much as you do. And we're going to continue to work with the chief, work with the police department to make sure that our city is never recognized as one of those cities where such incidents happen. So I just wanted to share that because the rally was amazing. For those of you who weren't able to see the rally or even attend the rally, you can actually watch the video from beginning to end on our City of Peekskill website, on our social media page. It should also be rotating on the actual government channel and YouTube if you have access to the internet. Some of the photos were taken by Ocean Morissette and many other local photographers as well. I'm going to see if we can try to get some of those photos in our Peekskill Museum, just as because it was such a historic day for the city of Peekskill to see so many people unified together as we stood out there in the beautiful weather on one accord about racial injustices and the importance of Black Lives Matter. So that was all I wanted to touch base on.
I'm glad it really was an inspiring rally. I knew something was going on when my whole family showed up. So
right, yeah, thank you. I'm glad they made
there's something going on. But in all seriousness, it really was a remarkable event. And for me, as a relatively new guy on the block of Peekskill, it really gave me a chance to see the spirit of the city in a new way. Another way to see the spirit of the city, I just want to close out by, is every week by the city hall in the parking lot there's a food distribution. It's cooperation. The mayor's always there. But you got Feeding Westchester and West Cop and the Youth Bureau and others getting together. And so that's happening again this Friday, right 1 o'clock, right? I think it's seniors come in first and then everybody else. And that's an important event, and information about the food distribution points, the food pantries and so on is available. There's a weekly schedule on the city website. Fred's Pantry, the Peekskill Hispanic Community Corp, others are all running food distributions.
There you go.
And you really need to tap into that or refer a neighbor if the need is there.
There you go. And we'll also be out there Friday. So I just wanted to close out just saying the school district are in their final stages of what they're going to do for the high school graduates for the class of 2020. And, we've been working consistently with the school district over the last couple of years. And we're going to do our best to support whatever final decision the school district makes, because we really want to do whatever we can for these children, as we always have, but especially the class of 2020 with these unprecedented circumstances that they're dealing with right now. So we'll definitely be giving more information on that after this week on our next week's COVID update for the city of Peekskill.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you, man. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. God bless you all.
You too.